What's going on, guys? It is the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you an awesome video. 10 underrated roller coasters I have ridden, and this is my opinion and coasters that I have ridden. So don't get mad at me. I made this video. The first coaster on the list is Vortex, and before I get started, these coasters are in no particular order, but Vortex is just underrated in general. People say that this coaster is an old, rough coaster because it is an aero looper, but I don't agree with people who say this coaster isn't good. For some reason, Coaster Stream, a very good YouTuber that I watch, he literally said that Vortex is not as good as Anaconda at King's Dominion, and that's saying something. That some people could say that this coaster is not as good as other aero loopers, which makes it kind of underrated. And people actually do like this coaster. That includes myself. This coaster has a very good layout, has some nice inversions as well, and it's overall a really fun coaster. Number 2 is the Bat, also at Kings Island, and this coaster is very fun, and it has several swooping turns throughout the ride, and aero suspended coasters aren't really talked about that much. Some people might say this is the best suspended coaster, or Iron Dragon is, or a defunct suspended coaster is the best suspended coaster ever. But moving on, the Bat, known for its swooping turns, it's a very fun coaster and very underrated that no one really talks about it. And this next coaster, it's very controversial, the Beast at Kings Island. Well, in the general public, or people that are not enthusiasts like I am, this coaster is pretty overrated because everyone loves the Beast, and this coaster is just amazing in my opinion. The drops are pretty good even though they have trims. There is a very huge helix towards the end of the ride after the second lift hill. There are several straight sections and long turns that go right through the trees. It's just a very good experience. And some coaster enthusiasts might say this coaster is rough, kind of boring, as well as being too trimmed, which is a good complaint, but overall, if you can get past the complaints of the coaster, this is just an amazing ride, and it's in the shadow of the Voyage and El Toro, which is another reason why this is an underrated ride, in my opinion. Number 4 is American Thunder, and this coaster shadows behind GCIs like Gold Striker and Mystic Timbers, which isn't even open yet, but it's going to be open soon, as well as Prowler and Renegade. So yeah, American Thunder is just a purely underrated GCI that I have ridden, and it's the only GCI I've ridden, and it's amazing. The ejector airtime just is amazing, which makes the coaster intense. Back row on this ride is amazing. This coaster is smooth, intense, and very airtime filled and very fun. This coaster is just so underrated, and it's just such a fun coaster in my opinion, even though it's pretty small. The next coaster on the list is Shivering Timbers, and this is just underrated because no one even talks about Michigan's Adventure at all, except for probably my YouTube channel. I'm like the most Michigan's Adventure related YouTube channel in the community because not many of these enthusiasts have been to Michigan's Adventure and experienced this ride. But the people who ride Shivering Timbers, some people will not like it due to its roughness, but if you can get past the roughness of the coaster, you will have a very good experience, as this coaster has a very fun drop, great floater airtime moments in the first half of the ride, and a very nice closing helix. The next coaster is another controversial ride, Millennium Force, and this is another underrated coaster in the enthusiast community, but overrated out of the people that say that this is like the best ride in the world, like not enthusiasts. And coaster enthusiasts who have ridden Millennium Force could be overhyped, but I didn't really think of it that much. I always thought Fury 325 would be better, but riding Millennium Force It's just amazing. The bank turns are fun. The first drop is amazing. The airtime hills are amazing. And this is just a very good all-around roller coaster. It has the height, speed, length, and the airtime. So yeah, moving on to the next coaster, Gemini, also at Cedar Point. This coaster is just purely underrated in my opinion, because I feel like no one really talks about Gemini and how fun it is. As this coaster is probably my favorite racing coaster I've ridden. It is a very old coaster because it was built in 1978, almost 40 years ago. But this ride still delivers a very fun experience today, as the red side and the blue side race each other through a 2-minute ride experience. So yeah, Gemini, very fun hybrid coaster from Aerodynamics, and it's very fun riding this coaster with your friends if your friends are on the other train or family on the other train. It's very fun. The next coaster is Gatekeeper, and this coaster is one of the newest coasters at Cedar Point, recently built in 2013. And in my opinion, I feel like this is just an underrated coaster in people's opinions. Some people just ignore B&M wing coasters due to their forcelessness and overall ride experience being way too forceless, because more enthusiasts want that insane, intense coaster. But I really do like Gatekeeper and B&M wing coasters in general. I think they are very fun, because this coaster in my opinion, is a hang time machine if you're in the front row. Like, you'll just get some great hang time on the inversions, especially that wing over drop. If you're in the back row, you won't really get hang time, but if you're in the front, one of the first 2 rows, you'll get some amazing hang time. And that's literally what this coaster is known for. It's amazing hang time and its overall setting in general. The next coaster is Magnum XL 200, and this coaster, ever since Coaster Studios rode this coaster and he didn't like it, everyone started to hate on this coaster. But from riding it, the first time I rode this coaster, I thought it was rough and not enjoyable, but every single time I rode it after that, it's been always a better ride experience. I don't know why, but I feel like as the season winds to a close, Magnum is a much better coaster and runs smoother, as it's been running for several days. So yeah, Magnum XL 200, very fun aerodynamics hyper coaster, has a very good drop and some nice hills at the end that has some decent ejector airtime. Kind of rough of a coaster, but still very fun. And the final coaster is American Eagle, and no one really talks about Six Flags Great America. It's like Six Flags Great America is the forgotten elite park. This park has a great coaster collection, but moving on to American Eagle, this coaster has 2 sides to it. Even though this coaster, I can never get airtime on it, it's still a very fun ride. It has a nice drop, a pretty huge helix in the middle of the ride, as well as some nice action-packed racing moments. So yeah, American Eagle, though it may not be the tallest or the fastest racing coaster, may not be the tallest or the fastest coaster out there, and it may not be the best coaster in the world, it's still very fun, and no one really talks about this coaster at all when they think of Great America. They think of Raging Bull and Goliath. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and respect my opinion, because that was my top 10 underrated coasters I have ridden. Not in order, though.